The hard history of DC area boxing quite like Juan Marshall, the man behind ProAmFightTalk, whose lens, words, and passion have told the stories of countless champions. Juan began his journey in 2009, visiting boxing gyms across the DMV to photograph local fighters chasing their dreams. His first major assignment came in 2011 when he captured the unforgettable night Lamont Peterson defeated Amir Khan for the WBA and IBF world titles in Washington, D.C. From that moment, Juan became a fixture ringside, documenting the spirit, struggle, and triumph that defined the sport. In 2012, he launched ProAmFightTalk, a blog and media platform dedicated to, quote, bringing you the best in welterweight boxing, unquote. Through over 3,000 articles, interviews, and videos, Juan gave local fighters a global stage, helping elevate the profiles of future champions, including Lamont Peterson, Gary Russell Jr., Franklin Cruz, Jared Hurd, Gervonta Davis, and Lamont Brooks Jr. His tireless work behind the camera and keyboard preserved the golden era of DC boxing, giving the community a voice and a platform that inspired the next generation. After 15 years of dedication, Juan retired in 2024, leaving behind a legacy of integrity, artistry, and love for the sport. Ladies and gentlemen, here to present to Juan ProAmFight is Ken Sprouse. Let's give him a nice round.
I'm very honored to present this to Juan. We became friends over the years. He supported the Gold Gloves every year. Did a fantastic job. Juan Marshall, outstanding contribution to boxing. Elected to the Washington, D.C. Boxing Hall of Fame, November 7, 2025.
It's a long road. Long road. You know, on the media side, you know, you gain a lot of friends and you can gain a lot of enemies too. But my goal was to gain more friends than enemies. I gained a lot of relationships in boxing, but the best relationships I gained were the ones with the people who called me just to check up on me. We didn't talk about boxing, you know. But first, I'd like to thank God, because if it wasn't for Him, I would have gave this thing up a long time ago. Because when I started, I thought it was just a bit about me, and I got humble real quick because the rigorous hours and things like that, it really broke me down. It broke my health down a little bit. But I had to get into my word. And the scripture that stuck out to me, man, I tell you, it put my priorities in order. It made me really think about some things. And it comes from Matthew 16:24. It says, Jesus said to his disciples, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. So when I allow him to lead me, ProAmFightTalk went from here to here. In this journey, you know, I spent a lot of hours away from my home. So I like to thank my wife, Elsie. My daughters, Maya and Nakaya, because when I wanted to quit, they pushed me to keep going, because I didn't see the ending, fight through the storm. And trust me, it was a real storm, you know, dealing with boxing. You know, you deal with people that, like I said, that like you and don't like you. You know, I have people tell me I should quit, I shouldn't do this anymore. I had people that encouraged me to keep going. One conversation I had with the late Bernard Roach before he passed away. Bernard talked to me and he told me, matter of fact, I was at an amateur awards event. He pulled me to the side and he was like, man, if you want to keep doing this, treat it like you have your own business. And that person that you're working for, pretend like you're a carpet cleaner. They called you to clean this carpet. You had one spot in that carpet that you wanted to clean, but you did a good job on that one spot. He wanted you to clean the entire carpet in every room of his house. So that's when I decided to stop covering just one boxer and decided to cover the entire area. I decided to cover the entire DMV area. But when I reached out to cover the area, I had to reach out to one guy, Gary Digital Williams. Gary. Man. Literally, you know, man, you were my mentor, man. You showed me a lot. We spent a lot of hours together. We spent a lot of time together. You showed me so much. You gave me opportunities to broaden myself from being just a photographer to becoming a writer, just by watching you. And our link came when I started as a photographer, going around before social media was real big, going around taking pictures of all the fighters and amateur fighters in the gyms and posting those pictures on social media. And those people on social media kept coming to my page just to see what was going on in the gyms because they never had anything like that before. This area wasn't covered like that before. So the light went off. I said, I can make this thing bigger than just photography. I asked Gary, I noticed that you do a lot of writing. So can I put my photos with your writing so that people can actually have a visual of what you were talking about? So I made that concept life and happen for myself. I said I could create my own blog, but before I did that, I got the blessing from Gary. He said, come on, man, we need all that we can get. We hit the ground running. We covered a lot of fights in this area. We put up a lot of information about the fighters. And every time I would talk to the fighter, I had to remind them that you only have a short time frame in this window. Make the best of that short time frame. Because the average person at 35, they're still working. But at 35, you just be starting your career. If you wasn't successful in your career, you're gonna have to go out and get you a job. You still got time to work and retire. But I thank God that I was able to get out and retire and not have to be able to work because of the support I had. So I don't take this lightly. I thank the Washington, D.C. Boxing Commission, not the commission, but the committee. I thank y'all for acknowledging me. And this is something I didn't see at the beginning of this because my platform was for the fighters. I didn't want it to be about me. I wanted the DC area to be recognized because at the time we really didn't have fighters recognized like that. Right. They were doing it on their own.
That's right.
But once we put the stuff on paper, and social media started, we started blasting on social media, the networks started coming. They started recognizing. We started to see more large bouts, noticeable televised fights. We started to see it in this area. And this area grew. At times they would reach out to Gary if they didn't have information about a fighter because they knew he covered this area. I got reached out to about fighters in this area because of what they've done in the past, and they were happy to be here to cover those fights. So you guys can see, I was able to see fighters as young kids, as amateurs, become world champions.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, that was so satisfying to me, watching a kid that I've seen before he became a man, became a professional fighter, be able to let his dream come true. And I was able to talk to him, to interview him, to allow him to share his story and share his struggles in the gym and how he became a better fighter. I visit pretty much every gym in this area. I became friends with the trainers. It's just so satisfying that I did not see this moment until February 8th. I was at a leadership conference at my church, at First Baptist Church in Glen Arden. I was there. And my phone never rung throughout the whole time. So when the first break came, my phone rang. And it was Bobby. Bobby called me. He was asking, let me know that the Golden Gloves were starting up. He recognized that, I know you're retired, do you still want to come cover the Golden Gloves? And I told him, nah. Then he said, oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna nominate you for the Boxing Hall of Fame. So I had to call him back. Say, Bobby, you know what? Yeah, I'll be there. And now, Ken called me. I was on my way home from a doctor's appointment. August 30th, I remember the dates. Ken called me and said, Juan, we're gonna put you in the Washington, D.C. Boxing Hall of Fame. And I was like, wow. All that time, I thought when I was gonna quit. When God could continue to push me forward, it said I'll be rewarded at the end.
Yes, sir.
And here it is.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody know what the difference between O.J. Simpson and the Redskins is? At least O.J. had a defense.